Jake a lot, but once he's in that ring, he has to fight like his life is dependent on it, because it will be.
Frankly, you are too old to be fighting a guy who's 28.
Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, for just the second time, had a face-off that portrayed the intensity and animosity that a typical boxing match portrays.
Fight. Like, truly, I mean that. And this is just the start. I'm 2 years in. I have a long way to go, and I am going to build and build and...
The pair share a great friendship, and as a result, their face-offs were usually lighter and amusing, rather than fierce. The only time we saw something different was in the announcement video of the fight, and even that, we can't say so much about what went on behind the scenes.
I want to face big names and make historic pay-per-views and challenge myself more and more with each.
But that entire narrative just changed after this. From afar, it seems the closer they are to fight at night, the more serious and intensifying things get between them, and this makes so much sense. Mike Tyson carried the aura of the crouching, fearless, and vicious champion he used to be some decades ago. He looked so ripped that one could argue his physique was more impressive than how he looked at some point in his boxing career.
And build, and we will see who is on that roadmap, whether it's contenders or whether it's McGregor, whether it's Mike Tyson, who knows? I've earned the respect.
Determined and ready for business, Mike Tyson walked up to the stage with no smiles, looking forward to putting a full stop to Jake Paul's boxing career. Jake Paul, who's also been training hard for the fight, wasn't acting like the new generation he represents. What was most interesting was the crowd, who also weren't as dramatic as other times. They could read the atmosphere and understand it was no more time for jokes.
Well, I'm beautiful. That's all I can say.
I do think that the older generation wants people to see Mike knock me out. But
it was the first of its kind before people, and if there was something it did, it was that it got the boxing world ready for what November 15th holds. Previously, they've had a face-off where Jake Paul compared himself to Muhammad Ali and issued death threats to Mike Tyson that culminated in a clownish shoving match in New York.
Making history, this is what it's all about for me, man. I'm a kid from Ohio.
We will see who's dead, Mike, the YouTuber turned fighter told Tyson ahead of their rescheduled fight in Texas on November 15th. The clash, which will be shown on Netflix as the streaming service continues its move into live sports, was pushed back from July 20th after Tyson suffered an ulcer flare-up.
New York, you're just like Mike Tyson. You were good 20 years ago. New York.
Paul mocked the former world heavyweight champion over his enforced menopause break, but the 58-year-old insists he has been back in the gym for a few weeks and is ready to face an opponent 3 decades his junior, the baddest man on the planet, whose last professional fight was in 2005, was born across the East River in Brooklyn, and Tyson was given a hero's welcome by the raucous crowd at Fanatics Fest NYC in Manhattan. His opponent, on the other hand, was booed and taunted with chants of YouTuber. That prompted Paul to turn on the fans and VIPs. "Damn you, New York," he shouted. "You're just like Mike Tyson. You were good 20 years ago."
How important is it to you to prove that you should still be in the ring?
Paul, in a belligerent mood, bristled at the pro-Tyson reception and told the crowd repeatedly to shut the hell up in comments that belie his otherwise confident attitude. The problem child, an admitted supporter of former president and longtime NYC resident Donald Trump, went on to call New York a dumb Democratic city, in reference to its long-standing reputation as a left-leaning city politically. Tyson remains an electrifying figure, and his appearance drew a huge crowd in New York. When it came to promoting this fight, however, he left the heavy lifting to Paul.
People think I'm going to get knocked out by this strong, powerful guy. All the people in my comments saying, look at his power.
Perhaps the pressure of fighting an icon like Tyson is starting to get to Paul in the months leading up to their highly anticipated bout. Upon walking into the press conference, Tyson was greeted with rapturous applause while Paul took a combative approach to the crowd. Tyson, a former heavyweight champion known as the baddest man on the planet, reveled in the admiration from the crowd and would not get drawn into Paul's combative rhetoric. Iron Mike kept his promise simple, telling Paul he was going to discipline him like a son when they meet in the ring this November. The 58-year-old ignored countless invitations to trash talk his opponent and offered largely mumbling, half-baked answers throughout.
My weight, he's gonna kill Jake Paul, all of these things. And that's why I love Mike, I respect him, but we're not friends anymore. Until November 15th, I'm knocking this motherfucker out, and we're gonna see who's dead.
Is he really a young killer?
He eventually warned Paul that the fight would be long and punishing, insisting, "I'm going to mess you up. Be in good shape, your health depends on it." The 58-year-old then began an unconvincing shoving match when the pair came face to face. It was immediately clear that Tyson wasn't taking the whole situation as seriously as Paul was, which indirectly implied that he didn't see the former Disney star as much of a threat. During their face-off, the 58-year-old stirred up the pot by playfully shoving Paul and found it hilarious when Paul shoved him back. However, Paul wasn't about to take this insult sitting down, so his sports betting app Betr shared a clip of Paul today on social media, which showed the 27-year-old imitating Tyson's push during their face-off. While sharing the clip, Betr wrote, "Jake Paul's impression of Mike Tyson pushing him." Meanwhile, they had shared two clips. One showed Paul mocking Tyson, shoving him in the press conference, while the other clip was the actual footage from Sunday's press conference. While Paul used this to mock Tyson, the former heavyweight champion took a different route. The shoves were playful, and the bitterness between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul during their press conference in Manhattan on Sunday was restrained.
You, New York. You.
First of all, trash talk is terrible. All he can do is resort to going, "Fuck you, New York. Fuck you, New York. You're what?"
And on Sunday, Paul and Tyson appeared at a press conference in New York to promote the upcoming fight, an event Bisping found nonsensical.
Respect to Mike Tyson, okay? One of the greatest heavyweights ever. That's a fact. He was ferocious. He was a knockout artist. You know all the details, okay? I don't know.
But Paul's boast about the amount of money he stands to make to face Tyson, the now 58-year-old former heavyweight champion, raised a few eyebrows and seemed to crystallize the reason their fight is happening on November 15th at Atant Stadium in Arlington, Texas, because of the enormous profits that will be generated. Paul Tyson will be streamed live on Netflix in the network's first foray into live professional boxing. With Netflix's global reach and Paul Tyson's availability on the network instead of an additional paywall, organizers are hyping the event as possibly the most watched boxing match ever. Paul wasn't coy about what he stands to earn on November 15th.
He's vicious, he's a killer. I know all of these things. He has one punch.
"I'm here to make $40 million and knock out a legend," Paul said minutes into the presser as Tyson looked on impassively. "He's going to get his ass knocked out. You're going to see on BoxRec that I KO'd Mike Tyson. I'm not here to do shit besides make a bag."
YouTuber, hillbilly's wrong. And that's what I've always done.
The comments were met by boos. The pro-Tyson crowd whooped it up moments later when Tyson, in perhaps the day's most revealing comment, perfectly summed up the reality of why he was plucked from retirement to face someone who is 31 years younger. "Who else is he going to fight to make this happen?" Tyson said as he pointed to a packed theater filled with boisterous fans at the Javits Center in Manhattan during the final day of Fanatics Fest NYC.
People with the same intention, but the actuality, no.
Oh, I'm not scared. Sorry, I'm not scared of shit. No, not at all. Not at all.
We have a YouTuber fighting the greatest fighter that ever lived. The decision to select Tyson as Paul's next opponent is a case of inspired, albeit controversial matchmaking, and is a nod to Paul's ability to create events that capture the public's attention. With pressure on Paul to reinvigorate his boxing career after facing a slew of former MMA fighters and losing to Tommy Fury in 2023, he convinced Tyson to step into the ring with him. Paul pushed back on the idea that he needed Tyson to make his next fight a big event.
November 15th, and the universe will align for all of its glory and good for God. 2-minute rounds. You want to make it 10 threes? Don't talk to me about shape. Don't talk to me about shape.
While the match between Paul and Tyson is sanctioned as a pro heavyweight bout, it will take place over 8 2-minute rounds instead of the standard 3-minute rounds, and will be fought with 14-ounce gloves instead of the 10-ounce gloves normally worn by heavyweights. Meanwhile, Tyson pleaded at one point for the onlookers to behave themselves after a spectator hurled an epithet at Paul. "Guys, let's try to be respectful here, please," he pleaded. Anyone who followed Tyson's meteoric rise and downfall can likely recount his vile outbursts at press conferences from memory.
You are. As soon as I catch this guy, he's gonna be running around.
Today, Tyson exists as an elder statesman, a mostly affable entertainer who seemed genuinely amused by the proceedings on Sunday. "He amazes me," Tyson said of Paul before he playfully faced off with his opponent, exchanging shoves that looked more like love taps than anything mean-spirited. "I love you," Tyson said to Paul toward the end of the press conference. No doubt the two will soon be laughing all the way to the bank. The fight is being held at Atant Stadium, home of the Dallas Cowboys, on a card that also includes the much-anticipated rematch between Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor.
If he fights the right fights and takes the right path to that world title, he can actually get there.
It was almost the same atmosphere in the press conference they had shortly before this. During their first press conference, held in New York City on Monday, Paul revealed that Tyson's team had requested a professional bout just 1 week after the fight contracts had been signed. Weeks after the contract was signed, we got a call from Mike's team and they were like, "Hey, he wants it to be a pro fight for sure. He wants to put it all on the line," Paul said on Monday. "So I respect Mike for that, and if he wanted that, I said let's run it." Well, this bold push from Tyson for a pro fight is part of why many boxing pros smell doom for the problem child.
Tyson, what's your thoughts on Jake Paul, Mike Tyson? Obviously, Mike's someone you've got great respect for, one of your heroes. Jake obviously boxed Tommy.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic event. Anyone who...
In fact, even in the heat of the build-up to his fight in a few days, Tyson Fury was intentional enough to make his bold claims regarding the matchup. Of course, he commended the idea of the match, but what he didn't commend was the possibility of Jake Paul giving himself a death sentence. He claimed Jake Paul was taking a huge risk, and he's allowed the comparison he's been getting with mainstream boxers get into his head. According to Fury, a 58-year-old Iron Mike Tyson is as explosive and dangerous as a 20-year-old Mike Tyson, who won the World Heavyweight Championship title at the young age of 20, becoming the youngest to do so.
Is he better at selling tickets? Is he better at selling stadiums out? Is he better at creating controversy? Is he better at getting followed on Instagram? Is he better at putting more eyeballs on the boxing? Is he better?
But it wasn't just Tyson Fury. Other boxing professionals had comments to make on what the dangers ahead of Jake Paul looked like. Should he get into the ring on July 20th? But before we hear them, both Mike Tyson and Jake Paul had fierce warnings for each other, with Tyson telling him the friendliness witnessed in the press conference will be dead once they get into the ring. The official fight rules state that it will be a heavyweight bout where knockouts are allowed, but there are only 8 2-minute rounds.
2:30s.
Damn.
I wanted the shorter rounds because I wanted more action. If we only have 2 minutes, we'll fight more.
It's going to be...
That rule was specifically requested by the 57-year-old and approved by Paul due to the entertainment factor. This level of confidence is worth worrying over, but with Iron Mike Tyson, almost everything is possible. The two were largely respectful of each other, often choosing to praise rather than belittle the other. It was a far cry from Tyson's press conferences in his prime, and he hardly seemed to be taking it too seriously, cracking jokes rather than insults. Tyson and Paul smiled as they faced off for the first time, with Tyson throwing a few playful jabs at Paul.
Fight for stepping up to try to put an end to me, because that's what all these fighters have been trying to do, is end the YouTuber. And if Mike can do that, then he's a hero.
Clearly, they both know they're about to make each other a lot of money. It was a no-brainer, a jovial Tyson dressed in all black said. "He's the new up-and-coming guy on the scene. I like shaking the sports world to its core, and I'm doing that now. It's just something I want to do." Tyson dismissed critics who are skeptical of his age and just how capable he still can be inside the ring. When Tyson was asked to respond to detractors who'd been critical in his quest to fight the 27-year-old Paul, he clapped back with composure. "I'm beautiful, that's all I can say," said Tyson.
Frankly, you are too old to be fighting a guy who's 28.
Well, I'm beautiful. That's all I can say.
The people who said that I am too old to fight wish that they were up here. No one else can do this. Who else can do this? Who else can shut the sporting world down? No one else can do it. You got the both of us, so we're gonna do this. We're friends. There's no doubt we're friends. But in the ring, we're not going to be friends. That's just what it is. Iron Mike further commented on how training for his comeback has been going. I'm doing great, but my body is in hell right now. I'm really sore. I wish I was playing possum, said Tyson. We're going to see, huh? If Paul can take my power, Tyson added.
Clips with Rafael Cordero and your whole team, but could you give us a little more insight into how things are going?
I'm doing great, but my body's right now. I'm sore. Yeah, I'm really sore.
I think you're playing possum.
No.
But Tyson delivered one stern warning Paul's way. Once the punches start flying, will he revert back to his old self? No, I'm not trying to put an end to Paul. I really like Jake a lot, but once he's in that ring, he has to fight, like his life is depending on it, because it will be. Mike Tyson's words, even while they sounded jovial, still carried the same tone of brutality and viciousness they carried some decades ago during his prime. Shockingly, even always confident Paul admitted to vulnerability and fear on Monday at the Apollo Theater in New York. I know it's going to be tough fighting against Tyson, said Paul. I know I am going to have to fight through adversity. I know I might even go to the canvas. I'm scared, don't get me wrong. But it's not about the fear of stopping me. It's about going into it even though I am scared. And that's what true bravery is.
Underestimating me, and I believe that I hit harder. I know it's going to be tough. I know I'm going to have to fight through adversity. I know I might even go to the canvas. I'm scared, don't get me wrong, But
Paul also countered his claims, saying, I know I will be able to take Tyson's power, he said. I'm a natural-born heavyweight. This is what I was born to do. I'm going to show Mike who has more power, because he's underestimating me. Everyone else is underestimating me. I believe I hit harder. It's going to be a firefight and a sprint in there and more entertaining for the fans.
I know I will be able to. I'm a natural-born heavyweight. This is what I was born to do, is to move up into this weight class, and I'm going to...
One major concern from fans has been Tyson's gas tank. Due to his much older age, even though he is in incredible shape, however, that has been sorted out, as taking the rounds shorter allows for more action and less conserving of energy, something Netflix will be grateful for. Tyson was asked during the press conference if he made demands when it came to the rules, to which he replied, shorter rounds because I wanted more action. If we only have 2 minutes with the fight going, we'll really be fighting more.
2:30s.
Damn.
I wanted to shoot around because I wanted more action. If we only have 2 minutes, we'll fight more.
It's going to be...
more
Paul then added, it's going to be a firefight, more punches. It's going to be a sprint, so it's going to be more entertaining for the viewers. The only other change compared to regular professional fights is that both Tyson and Paul will wear 14-ounce gloves instead of the usual 10-ounce handwear. Knockouts will still be allowed, and the result will be based on the judges' scorecards should the fight go the distance.
A sharp right uppercut to the body by Tyson. Again, a double right hand to the... Oh, there it is, right hand to the...
Tyson barely ever went the distance during his professional career, with 44 of his 50 fights wins coming via way of knockout. He's a lethal knockout artist and doesn't appear to have lost any power in the training clips he has been sharing on social media. With 2-minute rounds in operation, he will be able to swing freely without suffering for too long between rounds, and Paul has his work cut out.
Here comes Mike, spikes in. He leads to the right hand. Down he goes.
Mike Tyson is one of the greatest fighters of all time.
He was game, said Paul. I think this has been a long time coming. We've been calling each other out for years, and we finally made it happen on Netflix, the biggest platform in the world. Things just keep on getting bigger and better. This is quite literally history that we are looking at over here. Mike wanted this. Mike wanted it to be a pro fight. Mike wants a war, so I respect that. And for stepping up and taking this fight and trying to put an end to me. That's what all of these fighters have been trying to do. End the YouTuber. And if Mike can do that, then he's a hero.
Underestimating me, and I believe that I hit harder. I know it's going to be tough. I know I'm going to have to fight through adversity. I know I might even go to the canvas. I'm scared, don't get me wrong, but...
There are a lot of people who see me as an arrogant dude, which I can be sometimes, but I am just having fun and entertaining the world. The older generation wants to see Mike knock me out, but at the end of the day, I also have the kids rooting for me and want to see me end Mike. They call him Iron Mike Tyson, but I am Titanium Jake Paul. And that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, moments, events, and actions in the world of boxing, stay connected with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when we drop quality contents like this. Until next time, peace out.